Ambassador to Ukraine. Ambassador, these exercises occurring at the time they are, what do you make of them?
So, Neil, as Alexis reported, these are scheduled well in advance, and we do them every year. I'm particularly interested in the 82nd Airborne. I was in the 82nd Airborne when I was in the Army, and we did this regularly. This is what we do. We train. It does demonstrate that they're ready. It does demonstrate that the Americans and Poles work together and are prepared for anything. It does demonstrate that NATO is a capable alliance and will defend its members, in Poland as well as others. Any NATO member has that Article 5 guarantee that says that if the Russians should make a horrible mistake and attack a NATO member, it's an attack on the United States, an attack on all. So this demonstrates the readiness to respond to any such attack.
I wonder if something has changed, nevertheless, Ambassador, because it was little more than about a month ago we had put off some nuclear test because we didn't want to agitate Russia. Now we go, full throttle with this. Again, pre-planned, the joint military exercise with Poland, a mere miles from the Ukrainian border. Something's changed in our sentiment and our what used to be a big concern for how Russia would react. What do you make of that?
I think we may be moving a bit towards being a little more aggressive. We're still well shy of any U.S. troops in Ukraine, well shy of any NATO troops in Ukraine, well shy of any NATO or U.S. pilots in Ukrainian airspace. However, we are ratcheting up the support we're giving to Ukraine. And we are providing the weapons that they need. Neil, they're fighting for us. Let's be clear. The Ukrainians are fighting on our behalf. They're fighting the Russians. The Russians have started this war against the Ukrainians that the Ukrainians didn't pick, but the unjustified, unprovoked attack that the Russians on Ukraine, that makes NATO stand up, sit up. And we are ready to defend. We're ready to defend ourselves. And there is, though, Neil, a difference between a nuclear exercise and a training exercise that we're talking about here. So we do want to make that distinction.
Understood. I had a chance earlier today, Ambassador, to talk to Viktor Yushchenko, the former president of Ukraine. You might recall in the 2004 presidential race, he had been poisoned by Vladimir Putin. He survived that. But he, let's say, has very cynical views of Vladimir Putin that go way back to that and earlier. And he wondered about the frequency of these attacks on civilians in particular. This is, again, from an exchange I had with him earlier today. This Russian attack on a train station in your country, scores are dead, and it follows what seems to be more targeting of civilians. Your thoughts on that?
The tragedy of Kramatorsk that took place today.
Коли за буквально одну секунду було вбито багато
Well, literally in 1 second, many kids, many women were killed. Putin conducts the anti-human war. It's an anti-human. And his army is the same way. It's anti-human.
Putin нам бажає смерті.
Putin wishes death upon us. And we want to live. And this is the essence of the conflict.
І вбиває нас кожний день.
He's killing us every day as we speak. To sum it up, whatever happened today, the things that happened, the atrocity that happened today is happening every day. Every single day, he is doing this.
It's from the former president, Viktor Yushchenko. You can see the full interview tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on my weekend show, Kabuto Live. But, Ambassador, the one thing he echoed about these attacks is what a waste it is to talk to the Russians when they keep doing this sort of thing, that they can't be trusted in talks. They disavow attacks that are clearly linked to them with drone footage that unequivocally proves it's them. So why continue to involve Ukraine in talks with a participant that's going to keep lying and not honoring any of them? What do you think of that?
You're asking exactly the right question. The Ukrainians are asking themselves that question. Does it make sense, they are asking themselves, for us to have conversations with the Russians when they are doing this kind of act, when they are killing our people, as President Yushchenko said? By the way, I was in Ukraine for 3 years while he was the president. He and I had many conversations. I know how he feels about Putin. And the right question is to ask, why negotiate with these people? Why negotiate with people who are killing every day civilians? Now, there is an answer, and so far the Ukrainians have gritted their teeth and had the conversations in order to see if there's some way to end this war, to stop this killing. However, negotiating with these killers makes